So as you saw from our last video, we finally got our pictures together and summarized our first camping season in 2023. And now we're just looking forward to our next trip. And it's a cold February 17th day right now, and we are stuck in traffic heading to Pigeon Forge.
The joys of I-40.
So we didn't do a lot of filming and B-roll and everything last year because we were really just trying to take in our camping adventures. It was our first summer with a new camper, and we learned a lot of things, and now we're just ready for the next season. We did learn you have to book all of your campgrounds in advance. So Honeysuckle Meadows, which was one of our favorite campgrounds, we've already booked I think 3 or 4 different trips for Honeysuckle Meadows. Because as I mentioned in our last video, we can park our camper at Honeysuckle Meadows in between trips for free if we're bouncing back. So last time we were able to leave it there July through September. We dropped it off after our first camping trip for my birthday weekend in July, and then we picked it back up when we took our last camping trip, sadly, in September. We enjoyed camping so much, it was really depressing when we had to leave, but we did make some really great memories. What did you think?
I loved it. I thought it was a good time. Camper pulled really well behind the Jeep, so that was one of my biggest concerns about the camping lifestyle, but the Money Pit handled it.
Yeah, and as we predicted, camping is a lot cheaper than going to big vacations like Disney World. So we were able to get 5 or 6 trips in, and we're hoping to do a lot more. We're going back to James Island. We've already booked that trip. We're going at the end of April, and ironically enough, we are going at the same time as Brandon's mom and her husband, which is what happened last time. Last year we actually intentionally scheduled our trips together, and we stayed in a buddy site. I don't know what site they're staying in. I know we're not in a buddy site this time, but we did take their advice and picked a site that they suggested, so we know we're in a good spot. We're always trying to pick places where we're not in heavy traffic areas because of the dogs, because they notice everything. So they're always barking when people walk by. But you know what? We learned to deal with it. They learned to adjust to it.
Screwy.
They actually did really good with camping. You know, there were a couple of times where people would walk onto our campsite and they would get a little territorial, but for the most part, we take them out for walks. Everybody would tell them how cute they were. So they were like show dogs. And that was pretty much their camper. We joked that we bought them a camper, which I feel like we kind of did, because as we mentioned in our last driving video, we really wanted to be able to take the dogs camping with us, and or actually we didn't even say camping at that point. We were just talking about how can we go on vacations with our dogs, and we were just thinking about ways that we could do it. After our first trip to the Jeep Invasion, BP did his research on campers and we started shopping. So from August 2024, no, sorry, that's coming up, August 2022, right after that camping trip, realizing how much we missed the dogs, how expensive that trip was, because not only did we pay for a cabin, but we also paid for boarding for the dogs, which their boarding cost almost as much as the cabin. But that got the wheels turning, and BP started doing research on campers, and that's how we became camper owners. We decided we could not spend another summer figuring out how we were going to pay for care for the dogs. If we were going to do one big trip a year, it was going to get really expensive. So I think all of our camping trips combined last year, I mean, we haven't sat down and crunched the numbers, but I imagine everything that we spent last summer, probably, if it was any more than that camping trip, or that trip to the Jeep Invasion to stay in the cabin and board the dogs, probably wasn't much different, honestly.
Yeah, it was pretty comparable as far as it goes. Plus, you got to go more places, so that helped.
And we would take the dogs for drives in the truck. We took them through downtown. They'd peek their heads out the windows. And of course, when we were in Gatlinburg, everybody would tell us how cute they were. Oh, there's a dog. Oh, there's 2. So that was kind of cute. And then, of course, when we went to Charleston. That was fun. We got to walk them up and down the streets. We took them by Rainbow Row. We took them along the Battery, and just got some really nice pictures and made some really neat memories there too. So we're really excited about our next camping season. We learned a lot. We're probably going to learn a lot more, and one new place we're going this year is Huntington Beach in South Carolina. We're going there in September, or October actually. I just double checked our schedule. That one's in October, so that's going to round out our camping season this year. But we still have a few more camping trips to fill in. We may go back to Toe River. I hope we can. That was the first campground that we stayed at in Burnsville. We stayed at the Toe River campground. The only thing we didn't really like about the spot we were in was we were right on the river, and even though we weren't like the official river access, people still would walk through our campsite. So that was the only downside, but it was still much better than the Davy Crockett campground, because all we did was post pictures in our last video. We weren't able to really explain kind of what each site was like, but I would say if we had one campground we probably wouldn't go back to, it's probably the Davy Crockett campground.
Oh yeah.
Part of that was just because we went on the weekend and it was so busy. BP's mom actually suggested that campground, and she loves going there, but I think it's because they go during the week when it's a lot quieter, because most people leave on Sunday to go back to work. So I don't know, maybe we can try it during the week one time, but right now, because of our work schedules, it's just easier for us to take vacations at the end of a work week. At any rate, we're out on a day trip today. Just wanted to get out of town. It's still cold. It's 30 degrees outside, but we're stuck in traffic at the moment, so we're just blabbing. So join us as we travel around these parts today. across from the secondary entrance of Honeysuckle Meadows, there is a pool that is accessible to campers as well as some of the local Airbnbs in the area. So just be mindful of that. It could get crowded in busier times, but it didn't seem that way to us when we were there, although we didn't actually go swimming. Today's trip out of town was kind of spur of the moment. We just wanted to get away, enjoy the day, just, not being homebodies because it's been so cold. So we went to Wild Bear Tavern, and we heard they had really good German food. So we did enjoy a nice hearty meal. I had the schnitzel, and BP had the pot roast.